Hey, everybody, it's your boy Darrell Owens, and we are ready for episode 113 of 101 here on the Legacy Maker Sports Network. We're very excited because, one, it's week 9, and we've got some football tonight. We got the Tennessee Titans taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Steelers our team right now, trying to get back on track after a loss last week. And then you see Tennessee, big win last week against Atlanta. And so it's going to be two teams kind of as in-betweeners. But we got that tonight from Pittsburgh as the Titans will take on the Steelers. But with all that being said, we got to get into it. We got the power rankings. We got episode 113. We got Legacy Maker Sports Network. We got Bowie Television. Let's get this bad boy going. I know y'all are excited because I surely am. Let's go. Episode 113 now on the Legacy Maker Sports Network and Bowie Television.
One, 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 one. Welcome to the one-on-one. When it comes to ratings, man, we number one. I get the truth, then I give them the scoop. If anybody got a question, I give them the proof. Welcome to the one-on-one. When it comes to ratings, man, we number one. I get the truth, then I give them the scoop. If anybody got a question, I give them the proof. Welcome to one-on-one at Legacy Maker Sports Network.
What is up? Hey, what is up, everybody? We are here for episode 113 of 101 here on the Legacy Maker Sports Network. And I'm so glad to have you all with me. Of course, we are also being aired on Bowie TV. And look, we're pumped up. We've got another one to get into today. We got a lot to get into these power rankings. Some things have changed, and we got a new number one. And I don't know if this is for the third week in a row, but we definitely have a new number. Yes, for the third week in a row, we have a new number one team atop the power rankings. So let's get into it because we got a lot to get into. Let's go ahead and start with the bottom. All right, we're going to start with the bottom, and the bottom she blows, ladies and gentlemen. Starting at the bottom, the new bottom team this week. They were the bottom earlier in the season. We had them at our first countdown. They were the bottom team. Then that's the Arizona Cardinals. I this Arizona team I tried to keep out at the bottom. I really did, y'all. And the reason why is because I felt like they had fought so hard. They had played so well in so many games. Hey, they beat Dallas. And a lot of people can't say that right now, but they did beat Dallas in some pretty comfortable fashion for the most part. They could easily have a couple more wins. They probably should have beat Washington. They probably should have beat the Giants. This could be easily a 3-5 team. They played some tough games against, Seattle and the Rams and so on and so on. But I like this Cardinals team. I hate the fact that they traded Mr. Dobbs away, and he's heading to Minnesota ever since, now that the injured Kirk Cousins is out for the season. So they got him. They brought him in as a backup this week. They're starting Jaron Hall, their rookie quarterback from BYU. He will be starting this week. And so, it looks like Kyler Murray actually may play for the Cardinals this year. There was a lot of reports earlier saying that, hey, it may not happen. But that may not be the case now. And I think ever since the reports came out that there would be no Caleb Williams or Caleb Williams wouldn't want to go and all that good stuff to Arizona, I think they've kind of changed their mindset on how they're going to do things there. But there we are. Arizona's at 32. It's a sad 32, though. I didn't really want to have them there. I wish they were a little bit higher, but unfortunately they're not. At 31, the Carolina Panthers, ladies and gentlemen, the Carolina Panthers got their first win of the season now that we officially have no winless teams in the NFL. But the Panthers won 15-13 over the Houston Texans. And it wasn't a pretty game between the battle of the one and the number one pick of the draft and the number two pick of the draft. It just, that's just how it is. But the number one pick pulls it off, even though the number two pick has probably been having the better season. As you see, the Texans are at 21 this week on the power rankings. They had made it all the way up to 14, and I've had a couple of Bad goes at it, but maybe who knows? Maybe they get themselves back in it next week. They got Tampa Bay, so that should be a fun one. But congratulations to Bryce Young, and they get their first win, and Coach Frank Wright. So I'm happy for Carolina. They're at 31. At 30, the Chicago Bears. The Bears have been without Justin Fields, and it's starting to show a little bit. They did get a win with, despite Justin Fields going down, and it's just, the Bears traded for Montez Sweat this week, which was interesting. Didn't see that one coming. I thought that Atlanta would probably be the place that Montez or Chase Young would go. And, for those, Chase Young is now a 49er. Like, they needed more help on the defensive line. Sheesh. But, hey, I mean, we're about to see Ohio State revival with Chase Young and Nick Bosa. And I wouldn't be surprised with me if Nick just was like, please go get Chase, whatever it takes. And they probably listened to him. And now San Francisco's defense is going to be very interesting. Defensive line is going to be very, very tough to deal with. Anyway, back to Chicago. You bring in Montez Sweat. You give up a second-round pick, but you already got 2 firsts, so it doesn't really hurt per se. And Montez Sweat is a really, really good edge rusher. And so we'll see if he can make a difference out there in Chicago. They lost a tough one to the Chargers 30-13 last week on Sunday night. So rough deal, really, really rough deal. But Chicago's at 30. We'll see how it goes. At 29, the New York Giants. The Giants had the lead late against the Jets. It looked like they were going to get their 3rd win of the year, but the Jets fought back and won in overtime. Very ugly game. It wasn't pretty whatsoever. I mean, I don't even know what the bright spots. Zach Wilson had 240 yards in the TD. Gary Wilson had 7 receptions and 100 yards. Saquon Barkley had 36 carries for 128 yards for the Giants. But it just was an ugly game, and it just never. I don't know, man. It was just ugly. That's the nicest way I can put all of it. But the Jets, 4-3. They won, I believe, 3 straight games. So kudos to the Jets as they continue to roll right along. So the Giants are at 29. At 28, the New England Patriots. Patriots take on the Commanders this week. Our number 23 team. I'll be heading up there on Saturday to see the wonderful area that is Boston and along with Foxborough. So that'll be my first time up there. It should be a fun experience at Gillette. So cannot wait for that this weekend, of course, because of the wonderful Bowie television. And can't wait. But the Patriots lose 31-17 to a Dolphins team. Earlier this year, they gave them a little bit of a battle, but this time around, the Dolphins kind of handled business. And right now, 2 struggling teams with the Commanders and the Patriots this weekend. Both teams looking to just try to get back on the right foot. So we'll see. New England's at 28. At 27, the Green Bay Packers. 4 straight losses. 4 straight losses for the Green Bay Packers. I really don't know what else to say. They lost Kirk Cousins in this one. The Vikings did, and they still were able to go on and win. And I had a chance to really go back and look at this tape, and I was sick. I was sick just kind of like going back and watching it. But check out Green and Gold over everything. And then I kind of go a little bit more into that that'll air on Sunday. Yeah, they're at 27, and I don't think I'm picking them the rest of the season until they can win again, and I can have some type of confidence. At 26, the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders lose again last week to the Lions. This one 26-14, and Josh McDaniels is no longer the head coach. They fired him and they fired him, the offensive coordinator, and they fired the GM. Now, I could be wrong on the offensive coordinator, but I promise you that's what I thought I saw. But for sure, the GM and head coach Josh McDaniel gone. Or I think Morley was the name of the GM for the Raiders, and I may have that wrong as well. But he gone too. that's just what it is. He's gone too. So Vegas right now are kind of in a loophole. We saw how upset Devontae Adams was at the end of that game, and rightfully so. It was just terrible to watch. This Vegas team just can't get anything going. But we do know one thing. They got the Giants this week. So it's a winnable game. And Aiden O'Connell will start for Vegas. And they have benched Jimmy G. So, and Antonio Pierce, former Giant, is the interim head coach, linebacker coach for the Raiders. So crazy times in Vegas. Crazy times. They're at 26. At 25, 2 straight wins for the Denver Broncos. They're 3-5. I will say this about Denver: big win against the Chiefs to win 24-9. They came to play. But let's give some love to Russell Wilson, who's actually having a pretty decent season. He's had some really bad moments per se, but statistically he's having a pretty decent season. And so if they can kind of get this thing together, who knows what the Broncos can kind of figure out. I'm not saying they're going to win the division or anything like that, but they could make a push for the playoffs. It's still early. But kudos to the Broncos. They're at 25. At 24, the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts, a couple of weeks just barn burners. They're putting up points. Unfortunately losing, but they're putting up points. They lose this one to the Saints, 38-27. Derek Carr, kind of finding his groove with 2 touchdowns and 310 passing yards. Rashid Shaheed had 3 receptions for 153 yards and a touchdown. Saints starting to kick it up a little bit. They're 4-4. I had them going to the NFC Championship game at the beginning of the season, or going to the Super Bowl. So let's just not pay attention to that. But anyway, the Colts are at number 24 at 3-5. At 23, the Washington Commanders losing a tough one to the Philadelphia Eagles in a game where they had the lead. They were up 14-3 at one point. They were up 17-10 at the half. And then the Eagles came back, and A.J. Brown is an absolute monster. 8 receptions for 130 yards and 2 touchdowns. And he almost seemed unstoppable. And poor Mr. Forbes. They're treating Emmanuel Forbes like a stepchild out there in Washington, because they keep putting him on A.J. Brown, and it hasn't worked out well for him. And there's not a lack of effort. It's just A.J. Brown's a beast. It's that simple. Sam Howell had a great game. 397 yards, 4 touchdowns, and a pick. The pick was a little bit unfortunate when they were trying to get themselves back into it, and that kind of helped Philly kind of put it away a little bit. But I like what I saw from Sam Howell for the most part last week. I thought that the Commanders did a really good job of, kind of catering to him to an extent and trying to get him into a groove, and they did that exactly in the first, up in the first half. And I felt like, man, if they can keep this rolling, they're going to be all right. But the Eagles are the Eagles, and they're, right now have the best record in the NFC for a reason. Commanders at 23. At 22, the LA Rams. The Rams are a team that's they have kind of disappointed the last couple of weeks, just in general, because I felt like they were in a groove where things could really get rolling. I thought they could, they definitely could compete on some ends. They did lose Kyron Williams, who has been a stud for them this year, but they brought back in Darrell Henderson, and they've got what's my man's name that used to play Royce Freeman. They brought him in, but the Cowboys just ate them up, and I just didn't see it coming. I know the Cowboys are good. Don't get me wrong. I know the Cowboys are good, but man, I did not see them beating up on the Rams the way they did, 43-20. Just didn't see it. LA's at 22. At 21, and we talked about them a little bit earlier, the Houston Texans. They're hanging on tight. They're trying to get back out the bottom to the outside looking in. We'll see if they can do that this week. There it is, ladies and gentlemen, your bottom for the week. We got the Cardinals, the Panthers, the Bears, the Giants, the Patriots, the Packers, the Raiders, the Broncos, Colts, Commanders, Rams, and Texans. That is your bottom for the week. So there's your bottom, nice and pretty at the end of the week. But that's your bottom going into week number 9 here. Now let's go ahead and get them hooked up with that outside looking in. All right. Outside looking in, coming into week 9, and sitting at number 20, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, Tampa Bay at one point was 3-1, and they were sitting in the top 10, and now they've lost 3 straight games. And so Tampa Bay is trying to figure it back out. They got the Texans this week. Is a good week to try to figure that thing back out. The Texans are a good team, though. Don't get me wrong. Are playing pretty good ball this year. So we'll see if Tampa Bay can get it back there at 20. At 19, the Tennessee Titans. Tennessee is, I said it every week. I've said it all the time. Tennessee is one of those teams that one week you're like, yeah. And then next week you're like, I don't know. Last week they were, winning 28-23 over the Falcons. Rookie quarterback, Titans second round pick, Will Levis. 4 touchdowns in his debut, goes off 238 yards. Him and DeAndre Hopkins are having a field day together. 4 receptions and 128 yards and 3 touchdowns for DeAndre Hopkins. Henry's running the ball, 22 carries for 101 yards. When you got 2 All-Pros like Henry and Hopkins running and playing like that, it's going to be hard. I could throw, and things are going to look good. But much love to Will Levis. We'll see tonight if he can continue that success against Pittsburgh. Spoiler alert, I think I picked the Titans, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. At 18, the Chargers. The Chargers, impressive win over Chicago. They had been struggling at one point, and now they're kind of trying to get themselves back in there. Herbert had 3 touchdowns for 298 yards. Austin Eckler doing Austin Eckler things with 7 receptions, 94 yards, and a TD. And the Chargers are at 18. But most importantly, they get a win. Talked about the Falcons losing to the Titans. They're 4-4. But, normally I would have that team above. But, right now, record-wise, they have played a few more games, and they are they are second in the NFC South. I could be saying that wrong, but anyway, the Falcons are 4-4, and they're a team I'm excited about this week because Taylor Heinicke is going to start. He's going to get a full start here. We'll see if the Heinicke magic can kind of get the Falcons going. And no Desmond Ridder this week, so Ridder has struggled, and this the security blanket that is Taylor Heinicke, we're going to find out if he can make it happen this weekend. Falcons at 17. At 16, the Minnesota Vikings. The Vikings were 1-4, looking terrible. They won 3 straight games. The Vikings have played really well, but now they're without their leader, Kirk Cousins. And so they're going to be there in a little bit of dilemma, but they beat the Packers this past weekend, 24-10. And to be honest with you, the Packers made it easy for them. But congratulations to the Vikings. They're 4-4. They've climbed themselves at the bottom and trying to get things going. And technically right now they're in a playoff spot. We'll also get to that a little bit later. At 15, the Saints. We talked about the Saints and how, well they played offensively against the Colts. It seems like they're trying to get their groove back, and they're sitting at 15 this week. At 14, the Steelers. Steelers were in the top 10 last week. They dropped from 10 to 14 with the loss. But the Steelers team is tough. They always are well coached with Mr. Tomlin up there, but just a tough week against Jacksonville. Really tough week against a really tough Jacksonville Jaguars team, who at one point was 1-2, and they won 5 straight games. Jacksonville is on fire right now, y'all. And they got a bye this week, so they can rest up a little bit. Pittsburgh's at 14. At 13, the New York Jets. They're 4-3. The Jets have played phenomenally on the defensive side of the ball. They have been great defensively. Great. It hasn't transpired on the offensive side, but they've been great defensively. So much love to the Jets. They keep doing the Darrell thing. Ain't nothing like it. At 12, the Bengals. The Bengals are kind of getting their groove back. I know this is what the title of this episode should be, getting your groove back, because the Jets are one of those teams that have played really well. Started off slow. They've won 3 straight games, and now the Jets are sitting at number 13 and without Aaron Rodgers, and Zach Wilson is trying to get them through. But they're working on it. They're working on it. They're at 13. At 12, the Cincinnati Bengals. Big win over the 49ers. Big win. And I'd say you can just tell that Joe Burrow and the crew are back to where they were. And 49ers are free falling. And maybe they'll figure it out, maybe they won't. But right now, the Bengals are creeping themselves right back into that top 10, and they look really good right now. At 11, the Cleveland Browns. And the Browns did lose to the Seahawks, and I could have easily put, the Bengals ahead of them. But I just still think that this Browns team, once they can get Deshaun Watson back, are going to be a way better football team than what we've been seeing, even though P.J. Walker has done a pretty serviceable job for this Browns team. But right now, I got to go with the Browns over the Bengals at that 11 spot. We're just so close to knocking back in. So there it is, the outside looking in. At 20, the Bucks. At 19, the Titans. Then we got the Chargers, the Falcons, the Vikings, the Saints, the Steelers, Jets, Bengals, and Browns. Man, so there's our outside looking in. It is time for us to get prepared and get ready for the top 10. It's top 10 time here on One-on-One. All right, so top 10 teams here in the NFL, according to moi. And starting at number 10 is the San Francisco 49ers. And I'm probably going to catch flack for this, but you were 5-0 and you lost 3 straight games. What am I supposed to do? What am I supposed to do? I know 49ers fans, they're better than that. And they are. They are, but they haven't played it the last 3 games. So unfortunately, they're at number 10 this week. And Brock Purdy has struggled ever since he's had this concussion. And I know he's back, but I think with those things, they still kind of take a little time and they'll figure it out. I mean, they're San Francisco. They're a good football team. So they'll figure it out. Then you pick up Chase Young. So guess what? It doesn't hurt. It just doesn't hurt. At number 9, the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo get their win against Tampa Bay on Thursday night last week, increasing my Thursday night record. So thank you so much. But the Bills, I'm still not sold the way I would like to be sold on Buffalo. They got a tough one against Cincinnati this week, and there's a strong chance that Cincinnati is going to win that game. I pick Cincinnati to win that game. I think they're starting to find their groove, but Buffalo just, I don't know. We'll see what Buffalo team we get this week. Next, we've got at number 8, the Seattle Seahawks, who are now the division leaders in the NFC West. Great season so far for Seattle. Geno Smith in his second season, full season as a starter. Seattle looks good. There's nothing bad that I can say about it. I wish I was able to go to Seattle next week to see them play in person. I will not be able to head out there next week. We won't be going out next week, but we'll be back Bowie television-wise out to the FedEx for the Giants game. But we head to New England this week. Won't be in Seattle next week. But, hey, this Seattle team is good. I wish I could have saw them. But I'm telling you, Geno and the crew they're playing good football right now. They're at number 8. At number 7, Dallas Cowboys. Impressive 43-20 victory. Impressive 23-40 victory over the Rams. And they continue to look good. Prescott, nice game. 4 touchdowns, a pick, 304 through the air. CeeDee Lamb, 12 receptions for 158 yards and 2 touchdowns. Great job, Dallas. Looking good. At number 6, the Kansas City Chiefs. Tough loss to the Denver Broncos. But you know what, though? The Chiefs have these type of games every now and then they go on streaks. So last time, we saw how they played against the Lions, and then they won 6 straight. Be prepared for the Chiefs to win 6 straight. That's all I'm saying. So the Chiefs are at 6. At number 5, the Lions, who come off a loss the week before last against the Ravens, getting demolished 38-6. They bounce back this week and get a win against the Raiders 26-14, solidifying themselves as the number 2 team in the NFC at the current moment. At number 4, the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins got a 31-17 victory over the Patriots. And they're still rolling right along. But the one thing, the knock on the Dolphins for me right now is they have won their games against teams that are not that great. If you don't believe me, go back and check. The Dolphins are at number 4. At number 3, the Baltimore Ravens, once again having themselves a really, 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 really nice season to get things started. Now, the key to all this is keeping Lamar Jackson healthy. The last 2 seasons, he's been nicked up, and then we had to see the Tyler Huntley show, and it worked at times, and it didn't work at times. So if he can stay healthy, and I think the Ravens will be all right. They're at number 3. At number 2, the Jacksonville Jaguars, the highest they've ever been on the list. A 5-game winning streak will do that, and they have played really good football. They're on the bye this week coming up, so congratulations to the Jaguars. They're killing it right now. And number 1, the Philadelphia Eagles. Only 1 loss on the season, and that was to the Jets, who's played really good football for the most part this year. But the Eagles are number 1, a great comeback victory against the Commanders last week. They are our number 1 team heading into week 9. So that's the 49ers, the Bills, the Seahawks, the Cowboys, the Chiefs, the Lions, Dolphins, Ravens, Jaguars, and Eagles. That, ladies and gentlemen, is our top 10. So our top 10 done smoothly. And let's go ahead and finish it up. Let's hit them with the finale. All right, so finale time. Let's go ahead and knock this out. We got 5 minutes to give you the finale, and we're going to give it all to you right now. First, let's talk about our players of the week from last week. We've got Mr. DeAndre Hopkins. Hopkins, 4 catches, 128 yards, 3 touchdowns, and a 28-23 victory over Atlanta. He's our offensive player of the week. Defensive player of the week, Logan Wilson, 11 tackles and a pick against San Francisco, winning 31-17 over the 49ers. Those are our players of the week for week 9. Our top 5 MVP candidates. It's been kind of the same mix for the last, there's been a couple players that have been in this pretty much the last couple of weeks. But here it is right now, 2-1, McCaffrey 2, Mahomes 3, Hill 4, and Watt at 5. Now, Daniel Hunter is having a pretty good year. Might be you could slide him in there. There's a couple of people on the outside looking in my mind that could be in there, but that's where I have it right now. And right now, Tua is my number one on the MVP chart. Last week, your boy didn't do too bad last week. Had an 11-5 week, went 4-9 the week before, but everybody had a bad week the week before. So overall for the season, 73-49, feeling pretty good about that. Heading into this week, I think I can make some leeway up and maybe take the lead, or I haven't had the lead in the division, in our NFL experts pick them since week 1. Speaking of that, let's look at our standings. And right now, leading the All-Star division, our man Russ with 80 wins. Christina's sitting there 3 games behind him with 77. Ty with 73 wins. Larry 72. Joe's got 69. Jay's got 67. And then Rob's at the bottom there. But he's got 2 Lone Rangers wins and has got him in the lead to win the Lone Ranger title this year. On the legend side, you got Joey, who's been holding on tight. He was tied with me at the beginning of the season, and Joey has had the lead pretty much since then, but he's got James nipping on his heel a game back, and myself 2 games back, Justice 3 games back. Then you got Victor, Corey, and Lamont. So there it is in our NFL Pick'ems League. Then we've got our 2 NFL experts of the week from last week. You got my man Larry with a nice week for Larry. He hasn't been a top expert since week 1, where he had that really good week, and now he went 13-3 last week, and he made some good moves. Me and him both picked the Panthers. The only 2 people to pick the Panthers to win last week, and we're doing the same thing tonight. We're the only 2 people to pick the Titans. So Larry, let's hope that we got that mojo rolling. Ty went 12-4 last week. A nice bounce back week for Ty as he is creeping back up and trying to get back into a playoff spot in our NFL Pick'ems League. This week, Lone Ranger. Look at this guy, my man Corey, only person to pick the Jets this week. So that should be fun. That should be fun to see how that pans out, to see if Corey can get his second Lone Ranger win, and that would tie him with Rob. And, that'll be fun. That'll be fun. Right now, if the playoffs started today, right now the Chiefs would be the 1 seed in the AFC. The Dolphins would take on the Browns. The Jaguars would take on the Steelers. And the Ravens would take on the Bills. In the NFC, the number 1 seed would be the Eagles. The Lions would take on the Vikings. See, the Vikings sitting there making moves. The Seahawks would be number 3, and then they would take on the San Francisco 49ers. There's 2 division matchups in those 2 games. And then you got the Falcons taking on the Cowboys in that other matchup if the playoffs were to start today. Tonight, I got the Tennessee Titans winning 22-19 over the Steelers. They just play those type of games, knockout dragouts. I got Tennessee winning this one by 3, which means Pittsburgh will probably win. And then for the week, I've got the Titans, the Rams, the Commanders, the Chiefs, Ravens, Browns, Buccaneers, Saints, Falcons, Colts, Raiders, Eagles, Chargers, and the Bengals. So there it is, ladies and gentlemen. This has been week This has been week number 9, the NFL Power Rankings, as we get into week number 9, I should say, episode 113. So glad to have you all with us for another one. Thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed it. For all our Bowie TV listeners, I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for the feedback I've been getting the last couple of weeks. Truly appreciate that. Just want to thank everybody for tuning in. It's been a fun one. Until next time, we'll see you all next week for episode 114. And we'll be doing week 10 already. I don't like it, y'all. I just don't like it. Until next time.
Legacy Maker, the All Sports Network.
Welcome to the 101. When it comes to ratings, man, we number one. I get the truth, then I give them the scoop. If anybody got a question, I give them the